You know, we talk a lot about what women want in relationships: emotional intimacy, security, attention, and rightly so. But let's flip the script for a moment. Because while men might not always say it out loud, they have desires too. Some raw, some vulnerable, and yes, some dirty. Men are often expected to lead, in conversation, in dating, and especially in bed. It's a role many have been taught to play, whether or not they always feel confident doing so. But here's the truth most women don't realize. Even the most dominant, masculine men are deeply turned on by a woman who isn't afraid to take control without asking. It's not about being aggressive or overpowering. It's about showing that you're confident, that you know what you want, and that you're not afraid to initiate. When you take the lead without hesitation, it communicates something powerful. It says, "I'm not here to wait for permission to enjoy this moment. I'm here to own it." That confidence is intoxicating. Men may not verbalize it, but when a woman flips the script and makes the first move, whether it's pulling him closer, getting on top, or even just starting things with a kiss that says, "I'm not playing small tonight," it's short. Cirque, it's his expectations in the best way possible. It excites him on a primal level. It challenges him, and it tells him that he's not alone in carrying the responsibility of desire. Most men won't ask for this directly because of ego. Many have been taught that taking the lead is their job, and they worry that if they admit they want to be led, even occasionally, it makes them weak. But in truth, being led by a woman who knows what she's doing is one of the sexiest and safest experiences a man can have. It's not about domination, it's about trust, playfulness, and mutual pleasure. Taking the lead can look different depending on the energy you bring. It might be playful and teasing, like pushing him down and climbing on top with a smirk. It might be slow and sensual, trailing kisses down his neck, guiding his hands exactly where you want them. Or it might be spontaneous and bold, surprising him when he least expects it, showing that you're in the mood without needing a reason. The important thing is that it feels real, authentic, not forced. It's about tapping into your own sexual confidence and expressing it without apology. Sometimes it's as subtle as giving a command with your eyes. Other times it's being vocal about what you want and directing the moment like a scene in your own movie. Either way, what matters most is that you own it. Men are deeply attracted to women who are unapologetic about their desires, not just because it's hot, but because it removes the pressure to always perform, always lead, always know what's next. There's also something deeply validating about it for a man. When you take the lead, you're not just saying, "I want you." You're saying, "I want you enough to take charge of this moment." That flips a powerful switch in his brain. It makes him feel desired in a way that's different from compliments or words. It's visceral, it's physical, it's undeniable. Most people underestimate the power of words during intimacy. But the truth is, for many men, hearing what a woman wants in the heat of the moment is one of the biggest turn-ons there is. Whispering exactly what you want doesn't just create arousal. It builds anticipation, connection, and confidence. It's not about shouting instructions or being overly theatrical. It's about creating an atmosphere where your voice becomes part of the experience, a guide that excites him and draws him deeper into the moment with you. When you whisper your desires, it shows vulnerability in the most powerful way. You're revealing your own passion. You're showing that you're not just there for him, but for yourself too. That kind of self-expression is rare and incredibly attractive. It reassures him that he's not the only one invested in the moment, that this is mutual, raw, and alive. Most men are silently craving this kind of feedback. They want to know they're pleasing you, that you're enjoying yourself, that you're present. And nothing confirms that more than you verbalizing your desire with confidence and sensuality. The magic isn't just in what you say, it's in how you say it. Lowering your voice, leaning in close, letting your breath tickle his ear. These little sensory details are more arousing than most people realize. It doesn't have to be dirty talk if that doesn't feel authentic to you. Even simple phrases like "I want more," "don't stop," or "right there" can carry an enormous impact when delivered in the right tone. And if you do want to go a little deeper describing fantasies, giving specific instructions, or even just telling him what turns you on, it becomes a form of play that builds a new layer of intimacy. Men often feel the pressure to guess what a woman wants in bed. Society rarely teaches them to ask, and many women don't feel comfortable telling. But when you whisper exactly what you want, you eliminate that guessing game and give him something even better: direction with desire. That turns the bedroom into a place of connection, not performance. It gives him permission to let go of self-doubt and focus entirely on the shared moment. What's also powerful is how much control this gives you. Whispering your desires is a form of leading the experience, but in a softer, more seductive way. It puts you in the position of emotional and physical authority, without having to be dominant in a traditional sense. It's feminine power at its most subtle and effective. This also builds trust. When you express what you like, it opens the door for him to do the same. It removes shame. It makes conversation about sex feel natural instead of taboo. And that creates a dynamic where both partners feel free to explore, ask, and deepen their experience together in ways that aren't possible when communication stays silent. There's something deeply intimate about eye contact, especially during moments of vulnerability and pleasure. While most people think of physical touch or words as the primary forms of connection during sex, eye contact can communicate more than either. For a man, when a woman locks eyes with him during intimacy, it triggers a sense of being fully seen, fully desired, and fully connected in the moment. It's not just about arousal, it's about emotional gravity. It says, "I'm here with you, I'm in this, and I'm not hiding." That kind of presence is rare, and it changes the entire dynamic. Most men are used to physical acts being somewhat disconnected. Many have had experiences where their partner avoids eye contact or closes off emotionally during sex. So when a woman is bold enough to hold eye contact, especially during the most intimate moments, it sends a shockwave through his system. It's intense, arresting, even intimidating in the best possible way. It tells him that you're not afraid to let him in, that you're comfortable being seen, and that you're not playing a role. You're fully present and expressing desire without shame. The eyes reveal everything: confidence, surrender, connection, excitement, playfulness. They are the most honest part of the body, and when you use them intentionally, it becomes one of the most powerful tools of seduction and emotional bonding. It's not just about holding a stare, it's about letting your energy be felt through your gaze. You can tease with your eyes. You can command, you can invite, you can tell a story without saying a word. For a man who craves emotional depth, but may not know how to ask for it, this kind of eye contact cuts through the noise and goes straight to the core. There's also something deeply feminine about using your eyes to express desire. It's soft, but it's strong. It's vulnerable, but it's magnetic. It creates a moment where time slows down and the world disappears. It anchors both of you in the now. And for men who often feel the pressure to perform or lead the experience, being met with that kind of gaze reassures them that they're not alone in carrying the emotional weight of the moment. that you're in it together, that you're not just enjoying yourself, you're enjoying him. This kind of visual connection also creates a feedback loop. When you lock eyes with him and he sees the pleasure or playfulness in your expression, it turns him on even more. It builds confidence. It creates a mental imprint that lingers long after the physical moment ends. Men remember those moments. They play them over in their minds. They crave more of them. It's the difference between a sexual encounter and an unforgettable experience. Eye contact makes it personal, makes it intense, and makes it impossible to forget. For many men, the bedroom becomes a space where they feel a silent pressure to perform, to impress, to get everything right. They're often stuck in their heads, trying to meet expectations they've picked up from culture, past experiences, or even their own fears of inadequacy. What they rarely get, but deeply crave, is the feeling of safety, not safety in the physical sense, but emotional safety, the kind that allows them to let go, to surrender, to be vulnerable, and to stop trying so hard to be in control. When a woman gives a man permission to let go in bed, it creates a kind of freedom that few have ever experienced. This isn't something most men will say out loud, because they've been conditioned to think they always have to be strong, assertive, and in charge. But when he senses that he doesn't have to hold it all together, that he can moan without judgment, move without hesitation, lose control without losing respect, it becomes one of the most liberating and sexy experiences of his life. It allows him to show up not just as a lover, but as a human being, one who feels deeply, one who can release the weight of expectations, even if just for a moment. The beauty of this is that it doesn't require any grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as how you touch him, slow, intentional, without expectation. Sometimes it's the tone of your voice when you tell him it's okay to stop thinking and just feel. Sometimes it's just you being so in tune with your own pleasure that it gives him permission to step out of performance mode and join you in pure presence. That's when the magic happens. That's when he shifts from doing to feeling. It also builds an emotional bond that is far deeper than physical chemistry. When a man feels like he can be messy, loud, needy, or tender in front of you without being judged, you instantly become someone different in his mind. Not just a sexual partner, but a safe space. That safety creates trust, and trust creates the kind of sexual freedom that most people spend years searching for but never find. Because it's not about doing something wild or taboo. It's about creating an atmosphere where both people can fully be themselves. Giving him permission to let go isn't about controlling him or dominating him. It's about creating the kind of environment where ego dissolves and what's left is two people deeply connected, with nothing to prove and everything to feel. It's not always easy, because many men aren't used to receiving that kind of acceptance. But when it happens, it shifts the dynamic from performance to passion, from self-consciousness to raw connection. It opens the door for deeper communication, emotional intimacy, and unforgettable pleasure. And the more often that door is opened, the more he'll associate you not just with sex, but with freedom, relief, and the kind of connection that stays with him long after the moment is over. Touch is one of the most underestimated tools of seduction, especially when it's used in ways that break patterns and surprise the senses. Men are used to a certain rhythm in the bedroom. Hands here, kisses there, the same routine most people repeat without much variation. But when a woman uses touch in unexpected, dominant ways, it creates a jolt of excitement that reawakens his senses and pulls him fully into the moment. It's not about being rough or aggressive unless that's what the moment calls for. It's about being intentional, confident, and just a little unpredictable in how you use your body to guide his when you touch him in ways he's not expecting. It disrupts the autopilot mode that so many men fall into during sex. A firm grip on the back of his neck while you kiss him, digging your nails into his lower back while you move together, pressing your body against him in a way that leaves no doubt about who's in charge of the energy in that moment. These gestures aren't about overpowering him. They're about creating contrast. They tell him you're not just there to be touched. You're there to claim your space, to direct, to play. Most men secretly love this because it relieves them of having to carry all the assertiveness. It flips the energy and invites him into a dynamic where he can respond instead of initiate. That shift is incredibly stimulating for a man who's used to always being the one expected to know what to do. When you take the initiative with your hands, your movements, your presence, it shows him that you're not afraid to express power in your own unique way. And that power, when wrapped in sensuality, is absolutely irresistible. There's also something primal about dominant touch that speaks to the subconscious. It communicates desire without needing to say a word. It says, I want you, I'm not afraid of you, and I know exactly what I'm doing. That creates a magnetic pull he can't ignore. It brings him into your energy field, keeps him on edge, keeps him guessing. That's where true sexual tension lies, not in predictability, but in contrast. The soft with the firm, the gentle with the bold, the warmth with the grip. And the beauty of it is that dominant touch doesn't have to be constant. In fact, its power comes from contrast. It might just be one bold move in the middle of something slow and romantic. One moment where you hold his face and look him in the eyes while moving with complete control. One unexpected action that changes the temperature of the entire experience. It's in those moments that men feel something different, something that sets you apart from everyone else he's ever been with. It's not just about physical pleasure anymore. It's about who you become in his eyes when you show him a version of feminine power he didn't even know he craved. There is something undeniably magnetic about a woman who is unapologetic about her desires, not just open to pleasure, but fully owning what turns her on, what excites her, and what she wants to experience in the bedroom. For men, this kind of honesty is rare and incredibly attractive. Most men are conditioned to expect restraint, to expect a kind of guardedness around sex, especially when it comes to women expressing their needs. So, when a woman not only allows herself to feel desire but boldly communicates it without shame, it sends a shock through the system that makes her unforgettable. This isn't about being loud or putting on a performance. It's about authenticity. It's about removing the filter and speaking from a place of truth, without worrying whether your preferences are too much, too weird, too soft, or too intense. When you own your desires, you stop playing a passive role in intimacy and instead become a co-creator of the experience. That co-creation is what most men deeply crave but rarely get. They want to feel like they're sharing the moment with someone who is just as invested, just as curious, and just as open to exploring what's possible. A woman who isn't afraid to say what she wants is a woman who makes a man feel safe to do the same. She opens the door to a deeper kind of sexual connection, one where neither person is guessing or pretending. And that honesty creates trust. It builds a foundation where experimentation, play, and deeper emotional vulnerability become possible. It's no longer about following a script. It becomes about following energy, chemistry, and real-time connection. When a woman expresses her wants clearly, she also becomes more in tune with her own body. She stops waiting for someone to read her mind or give her permission to enjoy herself. That self-awareness radiates confidence. It tells a man that she knows who she is. She values her pleasure, and she sees herself as worthy of a fully satisfying experience. That kind of energy doesn't just turn him on. It elevates the entire experience. It transforms intimacy into something mutual, alive, and electric. Men often carry silent fears about not being good enough in bed, about not measuring up to expectations they can't see or understand. When you express your desires, you guide him. You show him that you're not there to silently judge or compare. You're there to enjoy, to explore, to create something together. That takes the pressure off him and replaces it with freedom, clarity, and connection. It allows both of you to sink deeper into the moment. Owning your desires also sends a clear message. You are not ashamed of your sexuality. You are not bound by outdated rules about what women are supposed to do or not do in bed. You are choosing to embrace the full spectrum of who you are, including the parts that crave, fantasize, and burn for more. And that kind of woman doesn't just satisfy a man. She changes how he sees women entirely.